Peace, blessings, and wholeness, family. I'm back at Virginia Lake, a beautiful recreation space. The sun's in my eyes, obviously. This is going to be part 3 in thoughts and observations / problems and solutions for Virginia Lake, Cyanobacteria, algae bloom. I made 2 other videos previously before this, part 1 and part 2. I'll leave the links down below, right below the comment section is where you can find those videos. And I've been observing this lake for going on 3 months now. And we haven't gotten much rain, but we've gotten just enough for us a larger surplus of water that had been already flowing in from the ditch to the northwest. I forget the name of the ditch. But so we have these overflowing holes in the middle of the lake here. And what I talked about in one of the previous ones is that the water level hasn't been high enough to really go over those cages out there. But now that more water has flowed in from the ditch, before the fountains would just push all of the algae to the edges and it would just remain on the sides. Now, the water's not completely clear. It's kind of still got this like greenish tint to it, but you can't see the algae anymore, and I think that is well, I know that that is completely temperature dependent. So because it got cooler, the algae can't thrive in the temperatures of the water, so it's still there, just not ideal conditions for it to thrive. So I'm sure once the water becomes of ideal temp for that algae to thrive, it will start blooming again. But for right now, we're in kind of a filtration cleanse period, and there's not too many ducks and geese out here now, but last night at sunset there was probably the most birds I have seen out here. Now I don't know if that is a direct correspondence to the water just being a little bit more filtrated, able to flow, not as stagnated, getting a larger amount of fresh water. I also don't know if that's a response of them actually letting in water from a river to that ditch. It's been flowing pretty much 24/7. It only dried up once in this real since I've been observing, but maybe there's a potential wherever that water's coming in from, if it's from a river, they could let in a little bit more water just year round, so that there would always be a constant circulation, kind of filtration flow rate, rather than when the water got lower than that cage out there, it's not able to flow out, and then all of the algae just becomes really stagnant. This is a beautiful place, even though it's man-made. I'm happy to call it home, and all of the foliage is really starting to peek out right now here in the first week of November. Beautiful sunny skies, not a chem in the sky, not a cloud in the sky either, but you could see the moon in the daytime. We won't talk about that though. Anyways, it's a great, beautiful day, and those are my observations. Water's cleaner, algae isn't completely gone, it's still there, just not ideal temperatures for it to thrive. We got this homie out here, little duck guy. But what I wanted to end this video on is that this will probably be the 3rd and final part in this series until further notice. I want to put my energy towards other things, but I looked at the water the other day and it was like, wow, that looks way more clearer than it did when I first started doing these documentations. But what I will say is that these willows over here, I forget what they're called, sand willows, but I would like to take some hardwood dormant cuttings from these late winter, early spring, and start propagating those. And once I have enough plant material, I mean, plants are the answer. Growing more plants, more shrubs, trees, all these things are what are going to help us in the long run. So right over here, I see these edges, and obviously that's for people to kind of come out and look and observe and enjoy the recreational area. But I also see a lot of erosion that's just going to continue to happen if there's not root systems and plants actively growing there. So once I've grown enough propagation material, I'd like to come here one day and just go to all of the, whether it's guerrilla planting or a community-oriented gathering, start planting the bareness of these edges around this lake wherever it is, because one, that's going to help with erosion, and two, that's going to help with filtration of water that's flowing in when it rains. And